There is a line, a thin, almost invisible line, between wanting something and needing it so badly, you are willing to kneel for it. The moment you cross that line, you are no longer a man with power. You are a man with desperation. And desperation, my brother, is poison. Poison to respect, poison to attraction, poison to dignity. In the quiet teachings of Stoicism, there lies a fundamental law. He who depends on what he cannot control becomes a slave to it. A man's power isn't in his fists. It isn't in how loud he is. It isn't in how many people he impresses. It is in this, his ability to let go of what is not his to control without losing himself. Think about this. Why do we beg? We beg because we fear the alternative. Loneliness, loss, rejection, failure. We convince ourselves that if we plead just a little more, if we hold on just a little tighter, we'll keep what we're afraid to lose. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So if your peace can be broken by a text not returned, if your confidence disappears when someone walks away, if your worth is tied to whether they stay or not, then your peace was never real. Why do men today chase validation so hard? Because we've been taught that being chosen is a win. That attention means value. That presence means possession. But the Stoics knew better. They knew that anything given by fortune can be taken by fortune. And what fortune gives is not truly yours. Seneca, in his letters, put it plainly, "He who is always looking out for approval lives a life of slavery." So what is the cure? Detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but calm clarity. The kind that says, if you stay, good. If you leave, I remain whole. If I succeed, I am steady. If I fail, I am steady still. I will not beg, because I do not believe the world owes me anything. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous, because a man who does not need cannot be controlled. So when you are tempted to text again, to chase again, to plead, pause, breathe, and ask, what am I afraid of losing that I believe I need to beg for? Then remind yourself, if it requires begging, it was never yours to keep. Love is beautiful, but when love turns into begging, it becomes a prison. A man who once stood tall now crawls for breadcrumbs of attention. And in that moment, the tragedy unfolds. Because the moment a man begs in love, he is no longer loved the same way. Let's break it open. Why do men beg in relationships? Not because they're weak, not because they're foolish, but because they were never taught how to be full without love. The modern man is raised with an illusion that love is something you must earn, that if you are just good enough, nice enough, devoted enough, she'll stay. And when she starts pulling away, you do what you've been conditioned to do. Try harder, text more, explain yourself, apologize when you did nothing wrong, compromise more than you can afford, call her queen when she barely treats you like a man. And the more you try to keep her, the more she slips. The more you chase, the more she disappears. The more you beg, the less she respects you. Why? Because no woman is truly attracted to a man who doesn't respect himself. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." When you obsess over keeping someone who doesn't want to be kept, you suffer twice. Once for their absence, and again for abandoning yourself in the process. What we fail to understand is this: begging is not love. It is fear dressed up as romance. It's the fear of being alone, of being unloved, of not being enough. You beg not because you love her. You beg because you don't love yourself enough to let her go. Let's ask again. Why does begging destroy a man's power? Because it flips the energy. True masculine energy is stable, centered, decisive. It is not needy. It doesn't chase. It attracts. It leads. It offers, and if declined, moves on with grace. But the man who begs has given up his center. He no longer stands on his own ground. He plants himself in her validation, and when she withdraws it, he collapses. Marcus Aurelius once reflected, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Let's flip that for relationships. She could leave right now. Let that shape how you hold yourself. With clarity, with presence, without fear. When she pulls away, don't chase, don't ask why. Don't send long paragraphs explaining your worth. Silence speaks more than desperation ever could. But what if I lose her? Brother, if she could be lost through your silence, she was already halfway gone. A relationship that requires begging to survive is not a relationship. It is a transaction. And your currency? Your self-respect. Let me ask you something deeper. Why are you so afraid to lose her? Is it really about her? Or is it about what her presence makes you feel about yourself? That's the uncomfortable truth. Most men aren't afraid to lose the woman. They're afraid to lose the image they had when she was next to them. Afraid of becoming invisible. Of being just another guy again. Of facing their reflection without someone else to define them. So what do we do instead? We remember this. You are the prize. Not because you demand it, but because you live like it. You build. You grow. You evolve. You lead. And in doing so, you attract, not chase. You offer, not beg. You love, but never from a place of emptiness. And if she can't receive that, you walk away. Not out of spite, not as a tactic, but as a man who knows what he's worth. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Don't waste your time trying to convince someone to love you. Don't waste your dignity rewriting yourself to fit their preferences. Don't waste your days wondering what you did wrong, when all you did was show up fully and they couldn't handle it. But shouldn't I fight for love? Fight for love? Yes, but only mutual love. Only the kind that stands with you, not above you. Only the kind that honors your presence, not punishes it. Fighting for someone who's indifferent is not love. It's self-abandonment. Love is not supposed to feel like anxiety. Love is not supposed to require chasing. Love is not supposed to be proven through begging. You are not a beggar in the palace of her attention. You are a king who rules his own mind, a warrior who carries peace in his presence. And here's the final truth. The more you beg, the more they believe you need them more than they need you. And in love, imbalance is fatal. So what should a Stoic do? He stays rooted. He does not react emotionally to withdrawal. He gives space, not pressure. He remains a presence of peace, not desperation. Because even in heartbreak, a Stoic remains whole. And if she walks away, he doesn't beg. He blesses her path and continues to build his own. Do not beg for love. Do not beg for time. Do not beg for someone to see your worth. Stand in it. Live in it. And let those who can't see it walk past it. Because a man who begs loses his power. But a man who chooses silence over pleading, he earns respect even in goodbye. There's a kind of strength that doesn't need to be seen to be felt. A quiet, unshakable presence. The kind that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't force. It simply is. This strength, it was the foundation of Marcus Aurelius's rule as emperor. The same strength that made him write to himself night after night. As the world demanded more than he could give, as people betrayed him, as loved ones died, as power tempted him, and yet, he stayed still. He reminded himself and now us of this simple truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus never begged for control. He accepted what was outside of it. He never begged for loyalty. He gave it where it was earned. He never begged to be loved, because he knew love given under pressure is not love, it's fear. And fear is not worthy of the Stoic. Why should we care about Marcus today? Because even now, 2,000 years later, the same battle continues. A man's war is not with swords anymore. It's with neediness, emotional chaos, and the temptation to abandon himself for the approval of others. especially in love. Marcus understood something most men today forget. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need everyone to stay. You don't even need everything to work out. You need only one thing: to remain in command of yourself. If you are distressed by anything external, he wrote, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. So when she leaves, when your message is left on read, when the world is silent, you are not destroyed, because you never built your peace in their hands. You built it in you. Why does this matter? Because a man who begs gives up his throne. He gives up his command. He hands over his peace in exchange for attention, and calls it love. But Marcus, the emperor of the known world, found more strength in letting go than in clinging. So the modern man must learn: don't beg for a relationship. Don't beg for closure. Don't beg for anything that must be taken by force. If it's not freely given, it's not yours. Let that be enough. What do you do when you're hurting? You sit. You breathe. You write like Marcus did. You endure without theatrics. And you remember, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed. And you haven't been. This is not emotional numbness. It's emotional maturity. It's realizing that you will be okay without them, and that loving someone should never require losing yourself in the process. So when the storm hits, and it always does, the Stoic does not beg the rain to stop. He becomes the mountain that endures it. Let's put it all together. One final time. A man who begs in love loses his power because he places value outside of himself. A man who stands firm, even in rejection, gains power because his worth is internal. A man who can walk away with peace is more feared than one who tries to hold on with desperation. And Marcus Aurelius reminds you of one more thing. It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Don't fear being left. Fear living a life where you beg for what should be given freely. Don't fear being alone. Fear never becoming the man who is whole by himself. And don't fear walking away from what insults your worth. Fear staying and losing the very core of who you are. A man who begs loses his power, but a man who stands in silence with dignity, purpose, and peace becomes a force of nature. The Stoic is not emotionless. He simply refuses to trade his self-respect for comfort. He leads with calm, he speaks when it's time, and he walks away when silence says more than begging ever could. So remember this: if she stays good, if she leaves you remain whole. If the world misunderstands you, let them, because you understand yourself. And that is the ultimate power. This was Stoic. Don't beg, don't chase, build, breathe, become,